So I want to make a video about something that some people might disagree with, but this is just my perspective of just my learning process through the awakening. And so this video is to challenge almost this idea of manifestations, the law of attraction, and positive thinking. And while all those are nice, I feel like in the scope of things, in the fuller reality, it's kind of a smidge of the reality. So I know a lot of times, we're trained, the more we focus our minds, the more we manifest the things that our goal is. And that's true to a certain extent, but you have to also remember that if it's a specific goal, right? It's a narrow goal that you're aiming at. So if like an athlete is working on their goal to go to the Olympics or to whatever, that's the goal. It doesn't determine their whole life scope. So again, it's like, it's a tool, it's a skill. And then the law of attraction, wherever your mind goes, that's where everything is going to flow. Yes and no. And the reason why I say this is I'm just learning other things through my awakening process, through watching other people's videos and my own experience. So let's kind of dissect a little bit. Let's say positive energy, right? We're all like, be positive, be positive. Now it's like turned into like almost what people term toxic positivity. Now it's just like, oh, like people are always just like, la, 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 happy, 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 but they're not really facing the slew of shadows that they have behind them. So it's kind of like an avoidance. So if you can always find something to be happy, happy, happy about, eating, through consumption, but it doesn't mean that is, even like the term happiness for me, like we're not put on earth to be happy, like happiness is another, I feel like it's another form of judgment. Like we constantly see these videos, including the spiritual teachers who are like, they're just so happy at top of the mountain. And it's just, they're trying to sell this idea of happiness and joy. And if you follow them, you can have the same thing. But something I was learning about how our universe, the quantum universe, is created. And I watched it through multiple videos about the positive and the negative charge that we all have. Like an atom has to have a positive and a negative. So positive energy and negative energy. Positive is the divine feminine, negative is the divine masculine. That's not referring to men and women, but it's the dominant energy. And one cannot exist without the other. You cannot exist without a positive charge and a negative charge. So hence, if you're always going towards the positive, what about the negative? The negative follows. So I don't know if you've heard like people saying like, life has been going great, and then all of a sudden just something happens, something blows up. I've seen these comments, I've met people that are like always happy, 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 and something just blows up in their life, something goes bad, and it's like, how is it possible? Why do bad things happen to good people? Well, this expectation that if you follow a certain formula that everything is just going to go so well for you, it doesn't make sense. And that's why, because energy, you cannot have positive without the negative. And so if we're always chasing the positive, the negative is just gonna needs to catch up. And it's gonna hit you upside the head. So I think this kind of explains why a lot of times through our lives, we will have this dip. And the ascension process for me has been a constant just dip. Now since my whole life, I've had more of a negative energy than a positive. And of course, there's been a lot of work for me to change the mindset, but it wasn't changing to, oh, I'm happy, everything is wonderful. It wasn't that at all. It was actually more of, well, looking at things more realistically. What's the truth? What's the reality? And accepting the reality. And that brings me to manifestation. Again, I feel like manifestation is like a small portion of our reality, or like how our life plays out. And that's the key. I think our life literally just plays out. Our lives have been predetermined ahead of time. So what happens to us is just us living through whatever that, I don't know what's going on with my voice, but it's living through what was already determined. So I see this a lot now with my awakening, where my ego wants to take me towards what I want. And that I want or I need comes from the ego. A lot of times people manifest that. They put their focus, their manifestation energy towards the I want, I need. But our life was already predetermined. It's going to be how it was determined. So I can see myself like this inner battle inside of me of like, I live with my parents. I really don't want to, of course, but I was brought here for a reason to do certain work. And I'm going stir crazy. And it's like, I have a dream of, what kind of house I want. And I'm working towards that. And I'm just focusing and my soul keeps bringing me back to, this is the work that you need to do right now. And the work really sucks. It really sucks. There's no positive here. The only positive that I can bring to this is just acceptance. We're in the middle of the Lionsgate portal. We were just in the Gemini portal. I mean, I feel like I'm going stir crazy with this energy, and this was what was decided already, predetermined. I can't avoid this, and I can't get away, and I cannot make myself happy right now. And when we dip into these lower frequencies, a lot of shit comes up. A lot of negative stuff comes up, and it's unavoidable. That's why it's like, if you've heard people say, oh, just change your mindset, just be positive. No, it's not going to happen. You just got to write it out and release these energies. So there's another reason why I don't believe in anxiety or depression. It's like, you've dipped and you just got to work it out. But people are like, oh my God, what's happening to me? Something's wrong with me. I'm not my usual self. That means I have a disorder. No, you're just dip. Your frequencies just, this is what they do. It's always because you gotta work out something. And a lot of stuff that we're working out not only has to do with the past in this life, but all the other lives. I'm still working through the drowning from a past life. And this past month, I think because of the intensity of the Lionsgate portal, like more emotions are coming through for me to understand what the trauma is all about. It's like the more you sit with it, the more you start realizing. So it's like, of course it's so depressing. Of course it's so upsetting. Of course, like I'm crying all the time. And, you know, if somebody just said, oh, just change your mindset to a positive, just think positively, or, you know, start making goals, start changing your life. It's like, it, you know, all these life coaches, that's not going to work here. You know, there's a time and a place to set goals, but when it's your time to work through stuff, you do it. You know, you got to sit with it. And yeah, so that's kind of what I just want to say. You know, I'm not saying all of those, the law of attraction, manifestation, positive thinking, that, you know, it's not something you shouldn't do, but it's just kind of seeing how things are playing out. It's kind of, they're not everything. They're a small part of the full scope of our universe. And there's a lot more going on. There's a lot of forces going on. There's a lot of sabotage. We know about sabotage from all these ETs. This past year, I've been sensing a lot of like interference. There was a video that I made recently, and as I was trying to make videos about the demonic entities, they were trying to sabotage me. They were trying to get me to stop talking. And, you know, I get a lot of that sabotage. So it's, you know, there's a lot more going on in our world than the simple formulas that's being taught by the coaches. And it's not that those formulas are wrong, it's just, I think it's important to consider the fuller scope at this point, or at least this is where I'm headed, like just looking at things at a greater perspective and a greater scheme. You know, this thing of just getting the house or getting the job that you want, the career that you want. A lot of people are waking up and asking, like, what are their soul's path, or what will be the right job for them. It's actually just like really irrelevant at this point. You know, we're here to do the work. Just learning a lot here. It's hard, it's intense, but it's just so many perspectives are shifting, like all the time. Like things that I kind of became grounded in, now it's like being jumbled up. Like, wait a second, yeah, this is not entirely how I thought it was. This is my perspective.